Hello, Joe and Jack. So what we've got here on this table are the demos that you asked for your sales meeting. And the first one we're going to talk about is this air bar with radial air bearings. So I'll turn the air pressure on. You can see it floats freely. You can spin it up and turn the air pressure off to show the crash resistance. You can make it squeal and show people how hard it is to turn, and turn it back on again. You can let people try to ground it. They'll pick the back of it up before they'll ground it. And the story is that the bearings are stiffer than the structure here. The structure bends out of the way because the bearings have got more capacity and are stiffer than the structure. So when you turn this off, there's less than zero clearance, and these bearings are preloaded on the shaft. This is the underwater bearing demo that you requested. You can see we've got a 125 millimeter bearing bonded to the bottom of this pan. And this is a 123 block. You can see when I turn the air pressure on, it'll float completely frictionlessly on the face, and you can't ground it. But the idea is that you now put water in here. Now you can see the air bubbling out of the face of the bearing, as I think you wanted to illustrate. And you can also try to ground the bearing, try to ground this. So no matter where it is on the face, there's a strong repelling force, and you can't ground the block on the face of the bearing. You do have to wipe it off. If you leave it wet, it'll rust. It's just a mild steel block. But here's your bubbles. This is another radial air bearing demo, except it also has thrust bearings. It looks similar to a piece of turbo equipment if you were to have an impeller or something over here. Again, it has its own individual on-off switch, so when you turn this on, and it's going to spin freely. It's possible to spin this rotor up to 10,000 RPMs with a common die grinder, and then you can turn the air pressure off and let it crash, and we did that hundreds of times at the last trade show. So that shows the crash resistance of the bearings right here on this demonstration also, in something that looks a little more turbo-like than the previous radial air bearing demo. And there is a video on this demo and on the other radial air bearing demo that you can find on YouTube, and we're going to provide you with links to those videos to potentially play at the sales meeting. So please remember that each demo has its own on-off switch, and the compressor will like it better if you turn it off when you're not using it. There is a separate regulator here for this particular demo. It's also set at 60 psi. The compressor here is set at 60 psi output pressure, so this is your regulator. This is your output, or what the pressure going to the system is. This is what the reserve pressure in the tank is. We also have provided 50 or 60 feet of plastic tubing, so you can put this compressor somewhere that's not nearby the demos. Okay, in addition to the compressor, we also plan to send you 2 banners that will have not this pop-up information on it, but information that's specific to turbo bearings and turbo seals. So it should be an easy pop-up banner that you can put up right behind the demos. So the bar radial air bearing demo fits in this box here. It's the biggest box. The smaller turbo demo will be in this box here. The compressor goes in its own box, and then it fits inside another cardboard box. Then we have some other items here that you can put out on the table. A couple little signs, an air bushing. So this looks a lot like the bearings that you'd find in a pump. Should be interesting to all the pump people at your sales meeting. This vacuum preloaded bearing is a seal face. It looks a lot like a seal face. There's also one of our compressor turbo bearings for a 4-inch or 100 millimeter diameter shaft for a large compressor. We've got a set of face seals. You don't have the seal demo, but this would be a set of the components for a simple bearing isolation seal. And again, the submerged demo here, you'll have this. This is the one that you'll see the air bubbles coming out of this when you run the 1, 2, 3 block on it. So good luck, Joe, Jack. If you need anything or any questions to be answered, let us know. 484-767-2311.